Anyways, looking at this matchup, C9 versus C11, gonna be extremely close, and I, for one, am excited to see how this turns out. Commentary is gonna be Nightcore. Joining me is going to be Eliminate. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Looking forward to this match as always. Russia versus Indonesia. Now, Indonesia, quite of an interesting story there because they did lose out in round of 32 against Italy, who Italy are C22. So I don't really know what happened in round of 32, but either way, they're now in the loser bracket already. Who just yesterday faced Malaysia, beat them 6-2, and Russia also just yesterday faced France and did the exact same thing, 6-2, and both teams getting very similar stats overall. Russia playing good in the hybrids and some of the LNs, Indonesia playing really good in the race and some of the LNs, so this match, as always, has the potential to go either way. All we can do is hope for a close match, and good luck to both teams, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really excited to see how this turns out. And maybe from yesterday's matches, they could probably make a strategy out on what they were kind of weak on and what to do kind of thrive on. I do remember that Indonesia had some extremely solid race scores from yesterday's match, so especially on that race 2 department. So maybe eyes might be peeled for Indonesia maybe to go down the road of maybe Rice and try to get that pure accuracy, but their LN is not really too far off as well. So again, it's going to be how comfortable they are, and as you said, maybe Russia might go towards some of the hybrids. And that's all I really have to say. For me, predictions look pretty cloudy. I think both teams are really able to give us a lot of surprises.
I think Russia is definitely in a spot to be able to do well, but they're just gonna really need to lock it in, right? Indonesia have got really, as you said on race 2, they actually got C2 on race 2, and on LN2 they got C3. So Indonesia very much so capable of playing both sides of the pool. It's just whether or not they can play it in quarterfinals at such a high level, and can Russia compete? I mean, the seeding, they don't lie, you know?
Absolutely. And especially just how close this was. Again, Indonesia and Russia, very scary teams in the losers bracket. I do believe Indonesia, yet again, they were knocked out by Italy, but I think it was because one of their players weren't available at the scene, so maybe yet to see their full potential for now. But maybe it has been unlocked with the last match. So, going to be interesting to see 91 on the side of Indonesia for their roles. So, looking likely for them to get their first protecting picks. So, really, after yesterday's performance, you can maybe hop into something like Rice 2 again. Or maybe with the similarities of that, maybe Rice 3 as well might not be too bad if they're able to keep up with the stamina.
Well, what do we think Russia and Indonesia are going to protect? I think maybe a bit of a no-brainer for Russia to potentially protect a hybrid, and even knowing how good Indonesia are at race, I wouldn't be surprised for a race protect either, because Russia did play almost the entire race pool last week, so I think this team is very consistent at race. It's just whether or not their accuracy can keep up, and I think they did have a little bit of a combo issue. So hopefully we don't get the same thing. That's going to be very important. But Indonesia actually going to be protecting race 6 and Russia LN4. So I guess nothing too surprising.
Yeah, I can totally see the protects being out. I guess we're going to go into bans, but looking at yesterday, Rice 6 protect from Indonesia. Looking at the sheet from yesterday, was a small bit of combo issues, but looking at the pure accuracy alone was very impressive, especially Ray getting that 997.6. So maybe they might just are willing to, maybe hope they're going to go for the full combo now. But on the side, I think we are going to be getting into bans, and Russia going for the Rice 1 ban. I totally understand it after the Rice 6 protect. And maybe for Indonesia, on the likes of Rice 4 maybe being protected, maybe going for an LN ban. So yeah, LN1 is going to be out the equation.
No LN for Indonesia, even though they did get a really good score on LN2. LN1 is nothing like LN2. LN1 more precision based, more release timing. LN2 just somewhat like a jump stream map with LN. So I guess nothing crazy here either. These bans, I think, definitely make a lot of sense. Russia maybe is going to struggle more in the accuracy / combo department. Rice 1 very speedy, high BPM streams. So I guess Russia, you probably want to play more into, if you have to play Rice, then I think accuracy is going to be a very tough game to win. So maybe you want to play more into the Rice 5, 6, or 7. And Indonesia, wasting no time, going to the Rice 3, our stamina map. 3 minutes, 21 seconds of straight jump stream / hand stream, 240 BPM. I think this is quite an insane first pick, but
I think they just really want to throw into it, maybe try to tire out the Russia team a small bit. But after looking at their Rice 2 performance from yesterday, I can totally see Indonesia jumping straight into Rice 3. So yeah, as you were saying, jump stream, hand stream, there's a bit of that stream difficulty spike when we do get to the guitar solo in the middle of the map. So maybe the difficulty will climax a small bit there. But really, it's going to be more of your pure accuracy test and consistency as well.
By no means do I think this is a bad pick from Indonesia. I think this is just a pick that really gets the nerves going right from the get-go. This is just what a Rice 3 does with the map length and just the consistent patterning that you feel in practice shouldn't be as physically demanding or technical as the other maps in this map pool. So to bring this out so early is really setting the stage.
Yeah, I'm expecting really close scores from Russia and Indonesia on a pick like this. Anything can still happen. Like, as a map is pretty simple as this, finding a miss would be really hard to tank on your score. So looking at this, we're going to be seeing OSU MANIA, Gamer, Rift 2 and Newbie on the side of Russia, Zeppelin, Ray and Albert on the side of Indonesia. This only makes sense. I did see the Steyr in for Russia, but maybe just not really too comfortable with this map as well.
Zeppelin is Russian, not Indonesian. So I don't know what he's doing on the Indonesian side.
Oh, my knowledge is gone, but I guess they're good. I guess they'd probably be going in for the Russian side, if I had to guess. Or maybe not.
Yeah, I don't know. People are just all over the place right now. I think just figuring out who is playing for what side. Zeppelin will hop out, Fire will hop in. This looks like this is going to be the roster.
Alright, so we're going to be seeing Fier for Indonesia. I do recall them last time setting up some really strong Rice scores when they come to the earlier rounds. So we'll have to see if they will be able to transition well into the big game. Of course, now kind of more matching the difficulty of the qualifiers, so the physicality will be ramped up a small bit. I think just looking at both these teams, I think they'll be able to keep up. But how comfortable will they be with the more tough patterns and the BPM increases?
Yeah, and you mentioned qualifiers. Both teams obviously doing quite well in the qualifiers to get seed 9 and 11 respectively. So if we're taking that into account and using it as a comparison for this match, then this is going to be pretty damn close. This intro is pretty chill, not really much to be seen here, but it does very quickly get into it, as we're about to see. And from this point on, it's just straight consistency, same jump stream pattern.
All bets are off pretty much. Coming off the intro, we already are seeing a 4-way 99.9 with Newbie not too far behind as well. But it starts off pretty simple, so 300s are going to be traded back and forth between the score difference, so kind of like that mini tug of war at the start. But just looking at it, accuracy slightly goes over towards Indonesia, but again, a 200 could just take things for a turn for the worse by either side. And coming off this intro, everyone just taking this up very easily. I'll be taking a small accuracy drop, but it's not going to be too much of a problem.
Yeah, the accuracy, the score difference right now is very neck and neck. Really, it's Albert versus Newbie at this moment in time. But Ray is actually very far ahead in the accuracy department, 99.96%. highest in the lobby as we get into the first Ki. The score lead is ever so slightly increasing, but really shifting back and forth, so no clear advantage here. Just seems like Indonesia has been having a couple 100-point lead since the very intro. A few extra 300s or a single 200 can get back to Russia very easily. Still as close as it gets halfway through the map. Still plenty of map left to go though, and that's just another Ki coming out of it. And Indonesia taking a few 300s of a lead.
Alright, here we are into the guitar section. The rolls are starting to ramp up. It's actually starting to go over towards Indonesia at this point. Albert is climbing their accuracy back up, and on the side of them as well, no one has taken any accuracy drops, even then just from both sides. It's only been ever so slightly gradually decreasing. But on the side of Russia as well, nearly a freeway 99.9. Very close and very impressive performance from all 6 of these players. Ray taking ever so slightly off that accuracy drop, but still leading the pack. We'll have to see if the final Ki does change anything. And with that basically 3-digit score difference, will anything shift? A 200 could give it over to the side of Russia, but as we do now, we jump into the final Ki.
One last section of this map to go. Not long left of map. If Russia want to take back this lead, they're going to need to really focus on their ratio as much as possible, or pray Indonesia hit 200. The score lead is going down ever so slightly, but it's only a matter of 300s. There really is not much time left for Russia to take this lead back, but it does still go down. Only by a slight amount. No one finding any misses. Everyone looking super consistent. We're down to 800 points of a difference between these two teams on the very first pick. On Indonesia's first pick, we're looking at a 1,000 score difference. If we see a singular 200 in the outro, that would change it, but ultimately we do not see it. Indonesia winning by 841 points on their first pick. A pick you would think maybe would be their most comfortable and the biggest win, the biggest lead, but Russia really fighting back on this one.
What an absolute masterclass performance by all those 6 players, and what a way to start off the match as well. 6-way 995k, actually nearly. Albert just 8 points off, sadly, but single-handedly, that was a freeway V1 double S, 2 on the side of Russia and 1 on the side of Indonesia, but pure ratio carried alone. I do believe Ray almost getting that double-digit 300 count as well. Indonesia definitely have more than pure accuracy when it does come to Rice, but now it's going to be onto Russia's pick, and I think, as you were saying a bit earlier, I want to jump into the LN as well. And yeah, they're going to go straight into their protect, attempt to kind of seal a Jaws shot going into LN4.
I still cannot believe that last map. 4 players in that lobby had a V1 double S, and 2 players had 1 200. Oh, sorry. 3 players. Ray did get 200. If 1 player had received 1 less 200, that could have went either way. That's how close that was, where 1 singular choke anywhere in the map changed the outcome. But Russia, I would not be upset with that performance whatsoever. You know how competitive you can be on Rice, but now how competitive can you be on the LN? This is their first pick, LN4. It's also going to be showcasing their LN potential, LN skill. A map you'd hope they would perform very well on against Indonesia. But Indonesia, as we all know, are very strong, very capable in all aspects, so it's not going to be as free as it potentially could be.
Yep, and we're also going to be seeing the Steyr on the side of Russia, and yeah, on the side of LN. Both very strong players in their respective category. And actually looking at this, I don't think Russia have played this yesterday. Might just be more confident with a pick like this, or maybe banned by France. But maybe if on the side of Indonesia, have they played this? It looks like they have, but looking at it, a small bit of consistency issues from yesterday. but with a new player swap, so they're actually going to be, I do believe, resorting to Fier instead of Rezard from yesterday. So maybe they might be a bit more consistent when it does come to a pick like this. If they can keep up their consistency, they also have the chance of snagging this breakpoint. But for Russia, I would say that this pick does give them a bit of advantage for them as well. But we'll just have to see. Both teams really capable when it does come to an LN pick like this. So it's just going to be coming down to who falters first.
This map is definitely really easy to miss on, especially at its length, 3 minutes 39 seconds. So this match might just come down to who finds those nasty misses, who finds a few misses in a row back to back, who finds misses at all. I mean, if we see a triple FC from both teams, then it will come down to pure accuracy, which Indonesia have that slight edge in just coming out the intro. All players in Russia at 99.7 or below, whereas Indonesia has 99.8, and Ray not far behind. It's a very early lead given to Indonesia, but really not much to be said. Indonesia, like you said, did find quite a few misses on this yesterday, maybe consistency issues. If Russia can exploit that and just play the combo game here, then this point can easily go their way.
What is kind of interesting about this pick is they're going to be using Fier instead. Well, I think Fier definitely has the very strong consistency. Actually is slightly bit below compared to Rezard, but I think as long as they keep their consistency, I think that's what will matter the most. And getting into the Ki now, going to be a bit more bursty, containing a lot of those scatters, a lot more of those density areas in the map. Everyone's holding on very well. The accuracy from Ya and Ray, 99.7 on both of their sides. Very impressive performance coming out the first Ki. Going to be kind of more of your bursty LN, some of those free no patterns, some of those rolls as well, just eating it up. But Fier finds a miss as well, and that is not really what you want, especially as the score is just going to go over towards Russia.
A miss already halfway through the map, and Russia still, as we were predicting, wanting to play that combo game versus Indonesia, but how long then can they keep it up for? 3,000 point lead now for Russia. Nowhere near comfortable. This is still comebackable for Indonesia on accuracy alone, so Russia maybe just needs to focus just a little bit more, but none of these players are aware, of course, unless they play with leaderboard on, which I'm sure most players don't. This nice break section just to get you ready, get you prepared for what's to come in the outro. Still a third of map left to go. 3,000 points. Nothing to be scoffed at here.
And here we are getting more into that build-up. Still having a lot more of those different snap releases. Everyone holding on a bit well. Fier getting back from that recovery. Again, Russia don't even have that safety net, as the point difference is only around 3,000. Even a clean miss at this point will make the score go back over towards Indonesia. But we'll have to see. Going to be a bit more bursty and a bit more of that coordination heavy near the ending as well. You cannot falter anything. Freeway 99.6 on the side of Russia. Ray and yeah, still holding on to that consistent accuracy as they were earlier. Again, it still comes down to the ending. G2 just being given here and there, but still heading into the outro as things do get a bit lighter, but more on that coordination heavy side as well. Again, falters are still maybe likely to be seen, but the map does come to the close. I don't think it's going to be the case. Russia are going to be taking their first point on their protect, and that is going to be it.
Russia evening out the score now with that 3,000 point lead, but by no means was that an easy one. Yeah, again, we see the score so close between both teams and really come down to the wire. And I think that ultimately came down to Fire's miss there in that map. Even though the 200 difference is quite a lot, the ratio is just looking much stronger in the Indonesian side as a whole. This map could have went either way, just like the Rice 3, and overall, I don't think this is quite as simple as saying Rice versus LN. Both teams seem to be so strong in each of these skill sets that they can probably just pick anything and hope for the best, right? This is super competitive, super close. Both teams really have to try their hardest just to take a point in anything.
Absolutely. Like, again, you see, had Fier not found the miss there, it would have went over to the side of Indonesia. So that's why misses are just especially important in this. And now Indonesia's pick, going to be jumping into Rice 5, going to be the light tech pick, and what a pick in Indonesia on Indonesia's side. I do believe last week, going into this, if I do remember correctly, let me pull it up. Wait, no, they haven't picked this. But
well,
judging...
I guess this would be the equivalent of Rice 4 last week.
Yeah, so I guess it's...
Yeah, so Russia has played this last week. Indo did not opt for playing this. Russia getting seed 9 on this, which is definitely a really good score. They only had one player, Rift, who found a few nasty misses, lowering their score. But if that consistency from the map we just saw shows up in this map, then they can easily get a much, much higher team score.
There is crazy potential for all these 6 players in the lobby to get really high scores. And I expect things to still go very close. And this map is not easy as well. Again, the lighter tech compared to Rice 7, but you still have to focus on some of those stamina aspects. The polyrhythms, the gluts, and a dump. This map throws everything at you, and if you're not careful, then it can spell danger for you.
Oh yeah, I'm still debating this inside my head. Is the top player in Indonesia Fire or Fier? Because you're saying Fier, but I feel like it could be Fire.
I don't know, I'm just pronouncing it like how you'd say Pierre. It gives me French PTSD.
French
from my
PTSD.
French exam. He was always in my French exam.
I before E, except after C.
Okay, that is true.
Yeah. Primary school English coming into play here. All players now ready for this 2.5 minute long Rice 5 technical map. I think this is actually quite an interesting pick from Indonesia because obviously a technical map is going to be more on the physical side, and if we see any misses come out, then that can be the end of it. So I think Indonesia, knowing their ratio is just ever so slightly better than Russia, I would have expected them to maybe pick a Rice 2, but Rice 5, I guess, feeling a bit more comfortable, a bit more confident in taking a point against Russia here. But does it show?
I guess we'll have to find out. Again, this intro doesn't really show much. Gonna be more of your late core jack with some of those mini stream sections in as well. The true difficulty doesn't really show until we get after the core jack, which is still kind of yet to happen. But for now, everyone holding on very well. 6-way 99.9 plus coming out the intro.
Yeah, it just depends, like we said, how close is this ratio going to be between all these players. And Russia, I think, are really trying to match Indonesia, but do see some accuracy drops from Distar and Rift. That will give quite the lead to Indo already, but it is still very early days. I don't know why the score lead is going up so much.
I think it's just really because of Ray's 99.96 and Yaz 99.91. Still, and Fier as well, that 99.94. I do believe it was a climb error earlier showing that lower accuracy, but now the map starts to climax. You'll be seeing some of those free no anchors at 128 BPM. You'll be seeing more of that dump in as well, so a bit of more natural accuracy drops from the side of Indonesia, but still holding on to that freeway 99.9. But here's where the stamina takes more aspect in. Getting more of that jump stream and more of those roll sections as well.
The score lead barely moving, still sitting at 3,000 points. And Nubi going to be the first one to find a miss already. Halfway through the map though, so there is still time. But Russia, when you're already down 3,000 points, you can't be finding these misses like that. Now Indonesia would like to have a very solid lead here coming out of that section, but there is still a quarter of map remaining. But this is looking as comfortable as it has been at any point in this matchup. And Distar also finding a miss, and that is gonna almost seal it at this point. There isn't much room for error for Indonesia.
Yeah, I just
as long as they hold on.
Indonesia definitely have to hold on. Of course, they do have that safety net of 18,000 points, so as long as nothing major does happen, I think this point will go over to them at a very comfy 19,000 point lead. But of course, they still have the ending where the anchors take more of a climax. But even then, everyone's still holding on very well on both sides. No significant accuracy drops at the ending. And look at these scores. Almost a freeway V1 double S on the side of Indonesia. 95 300s for Ray as well.
This is an absolutely insane team score from Indonesia, 2,990 as an overall team score. I mean, on any map, that is very rare to see a team pull off. Russia also performing very well, only 2 misses spread out across both players. But the ratio and accuracy is just unmatched here. Russia do get close, but when you look at Ray, a sub 100, 300 count, that's just something that is going to be incredibly difficult to match. So Russia cut their losses, right? Indonesia definitely proving themselves. Race 5 is a good pick for them. But Russia, is LN3 a good pick for you?
We will have to see. And I think Russia, maybe to go for the less riskier, you were correct. Gonna be Planet Shaper.
He just knows. He knows, he knows. The Russia team, after doing so well on the LN4, even though they did keep it close until the very end, it was 3,000 points of difference after all. They do know that Indonesia, to find those misses in this map, has quite a long intro, quite a long outro. So the difficulty of this map, when it actually peaks, it makes up for it. So this map, I think, could go either way, but Russia just gonna be banking on Indonesia finding those misses like we've seen before, and I think that's probably something we will actually see.
I think so too. Especially LN3 is a very brutal map to keep your combo on. You can tell probably by picking this, Russia is definitely confident that they will get the freeway full combo, or near enough that. Maybe they're probably expecting to get a freeway full combo, which is definitely doable. But again, the outcome is still kind of cloudy. Anything can still happen. Like, especially in the map like LN3, throwing in a lot of those shields, tech, density, trills, broken jump stream. And of course, you still have the ending as well, outside the outro. But this map is a lot shorter than you expect, because you have the intro and the outro which take up a good bit of the drain time. So, you might think you're playing a 3-minute map, but it goes in a blink of an eye.
Yeah, 3-minute map. Actually, maybe working out to be 2 minutes instead. But can these teams perform when it matters most in this quote-unquote 3-minute map? That is what we're about to find out in map number 4. Russia looking to even out the score 2-2. If they fail to pull this off, things are going to be looking pretty grim, considering I don't think LN2 is going to be a very great pick for Russia. Indonesia looking very strong on last week's LN2. So to me, this is somewhat of a must-win pick for Russia.
Yeah, especially in a matchup like this, you do not want to be giving away any break points. It is super important that you know what you're picking, playing your cards right as well. But here we are, getting into things. You'll start to see some of those shields before you do get to the density build-up. Any part of this map can throw off any of the players. Density starts to pick up a bit. Pretty balanced. Accuracy does go over towards Indonesia, as Newbie does find a few 200s getting into that transition. But anything can still happen heading into the main draw.
Oh, the Star going to be the first player to find a miss, and that is on the Russian side. When you combine the Star's miss with Newbie's 200 drops earlier in the map, then that is going to combine to spell disaster here. 15,000 lead already given to Indonesia. As we were discussing, this map is a lot shorter than you think, so to have such a lead for Indonesia already is not looking very good for Russia at all. And Newbie with another miss on the Russian side, so that's 2 FCs gone, but yeah, it does trade it, so isn't going to be the end of the world here. There is still time for more misses to happen. But 17,000 points built up already. 2 players missed on the exact same note.
That is all 3 misses on the side of Russia. all full combos gone versus 2. Not really what you want to see, especially still in the main area of the map. It might be unrecoverable, but we still have a good portion of the map left. But most of it is from the outro. So if Indonesia don't really tank as much accuracy, then they'll be able to get the first breakpoint to this match. And a very important breakpoint for them as well. Heading into the final bit, yeah, it does find that drop. But when you do have that score advantage of 30,000 points and that being a clean drop as well combined, it's not really going to be putting a dent in the score difference. And as you do get to the outro, I think it is safe to say that Indonesia have took the money and run. They've taken Russia's break points as they were trying to bank on those freeway full combos, but unfortunately, Russia weren't really able to do it.
Yeah, and this very long outro, there is definitely not enough time for anything to happen. To be actually missing one of the LNs there. Luckily, did not play a factor in the result of this map. Indonesia taking the first breakpoint of this match, looking ever so comfortable as well. The 30,000 lead. This is the biggest lead that we have seen on any map in this match so far, and it's on the LN map, one that Russia was looking to take, and Russia, maybe one of their better picks against Indonesia, now gone out the way on the back of some of those misses. Look at the accuracy from 3 of these players here. Rift, Yen, Ray, 3 200s and 2 200s. Very incredible accuracy from these players, but it really came down to the misses, as we saw. And I think that's what this matchup is going to be consisting of mostly.
Russia do have to hope they do take a breakpoint back against Indonesia, especially in a matchup like this where you just cannot really afford any breakpoints. So that does probably give them a morale boost a small bit over towards Indonesia at this point, and that gives them the confidence advantage as well. But the question is, what will Indonesia go for? Jumping into their protect, gonna be Rice 6. Totally understandable pick as well. Probably one of their greatest.
Yeah, I think this pick definitely an expected one. I was going to say either this or Rice 7, but Rice 6 probably a lot more, I guess, well suited for Indonesia than Race 7. Race 7 is a very short map where a singular miss can cost you the points. So why not play a bit more consistency again where Indonesia are just feeling much better on?
See, my question is though, I think this could go either way. Both both teams have played this yesterday, and I have a few misses were traded back and forth. On the side of Russia, it was, I do believe, 1 miss. On the side of Indonesia was 2. But looking at it, Indonesia having the better raw accuracy. So, it's, again, it is going to be going down to the miscount. And especially in a map like this, Sky don't think needs any explanation when it comes to their maps. It is going to be our dump picks, so going to be very abrasive on a lot of the dump patterns, trills, and most importantly, the slow anchors as well, which might catch off some of the players.
This map seemingly has it all, and has it all for 3 minutes indeed. Russia, I think if they hold on to their combo, they do have a chance of taking this, because you're just seeing plenty of random misses come out from both teams, and we're kind of getting to that point now in the Mania World Cup where the maps are getting much harder, so combo does actually play much more of a factor than just accuracy alone. So one less miss from Russia, and that could give them back their breakpoint. And this might be a good pick for that.
Again, anything can happen with a pick like this, and if Russia can take back this breakpoint, it can make this matchup a lot more hype, I would say, as this definitely has one of the more likely odds that we could see a tiebreaker as well. But again, we do have to get through all the maps before we do see that potential tiebreaker if it does happen. Intro starts off pretty light, but we do get into the swing of things, starting to see more of that light jump stream, hand stream as well. Very flowy at the start, so I think everyone will be able to manage this pretty well.
Yeah, but OSU Mania Gamer has dropped a lot of accuracy. Was on 99.7 already on just the intro alone, but everyone else looking really comfortable, I think above that 99.9% threshold. But this is where the map really begins now. This is where the first difficulty spike comes to play. But everyone hitting it pretty nicely. The score lead is not increasing for any team here. It's just Indonesia holding on to a couple 100-point lead. But can they hold on to it for the rest of the map? I'm hoping that we see something similar to the Rice 5, where Indonesia just stay ahead by the smallest of margins. Still definitely winnable for Russia here.
Pretty much going to be both teams keeping their head above water until who gets that cramp first and finds that drop. But we do get into more of the lighter section, as we have seen with the intro, but still nothing to kind of scoff at. Those trills on either side are still absolutely brutal, alternating between each hand. But the hardest is still yet to come. We get into the second Ki. Here we go. The stamina needs to kind of more get tested. Again, still getting more of this light section before we do jump into it. And just looking at the accuracy, lowest being a 99.8 or 99.79.
Yeah, the lowest accuracy in this lobby is still very high, very competitive, but Ray still above that 99.9%, has been for the entire map. Accuracy looking superb, and this is getting pretty scary because this map is still peaking in difficulty, but no one's finding any drops. This is just a few 200s coming up from Russia, strengthening Indonesia's lead, now at 3,000, but with still a core map left to go. A singular drop can do it. This is still as close as it gets, but everyone's hanging on. If we see 3 FCs from each team, Indonesia looking to take this on accuracy alone, as they have been doing throughout this match, and it is looking very strong. But a miss still can happen, but is not to be seen as we come out of the outro rather. 5,000 point lead for Indonesia. Cannot say that was an easy point to grab. Russia still keeping it as competitive as ever. Ray with the 99.92% on the Rice 6. Not an easy feat, but does take it for their team. Indonesia now up 4-1, but still only 1 breakpoint ahead.
An absolute masterclass performance by all 6 players. And what a team score from Indonesia. Freeway V1 SS. Absolute amazing performance. Again, Russia still not really too far behind. But even if they did get the V1 SS's, I think ratio advantage would still go to Indonesia, but by a very close margin.
Yeah, Indonesia just shy of being that 2990 score mark yet again. This team looking super strong on these Rice maps, but now Russia's time to pick, and they do need to take back that breakpoint. They cannot afford to lose any more points. Each pick that they make now has to be done with caution. And it might seem a bit crazy, but Hybrid 2 last week, I mean, they did phenomenal on Russia, so they could maybe go for... Okay, never mind. They go for an LN2 instead of the Hybrid 2. Now, LN2, I'm not too sure about, to be honest. I think Indonesia are very much so capable of playing an LN2, especially with the accuracy advantage as well. This is super risky.
I 100% agree. Especially looking last week, Indonesia getting a team score 2977 in that freeway full combo and very minimal 200 count as well. So it kind of does raise the question, will Russia be able to keep up? Or are they going to be more relying on the full combo side on their team and maybe hoping that one of the people on Indonesia finds a miss?
It seems like Russia are very close to Indonesia in accuracy, but still do lose out on it just by a slight margin. So Russia, as usual, probably going to be playing the combo game here, hoping that Indonesia find a miss. But if they don't, things are going to be really close and very rough for this Russian team. But this point, as I said, does mean a lot. If they lose this point, that's 2 breakpoints given to Indonesia and match point along with that. So I think this is the most important map of this match. Russia needs to win this. This is a must-win point. They cannot afford to lose it.
And let's hope, like, if they did pick this, they have the confidence to go in and put on a really strong performance. So let's hope they do it. Again, this map, as it is with density, I think everyone is well capable of setting some really strong scores on this. But as you said, it's going to be who does falter getting some of those misses. Even 200s matter really. Even 200s and 300 count as well matter a lot in a pick like this. As we have seen with earlier picks as well, some of the Rice. The LN is no exception when those come to MA and PA control as well. It is pretty simple, as I think the difficulty does more climax near the end, where it does get a bit more angry, and there are also some free no patterns as well that you do have to watch out for. But I think for all these players, it should be a pretty easy task.
Yeah, this map really kind of acting like a jump stream map in disguise. Instead, just having that LN difference, so it's whether or not Russia or Indonesia can just be consistent for the entire map. This map isn't as long as the other maps though, so 2.5 minutes should be pretty chill for both teams. I don't think there should be any stamina problems, unless, you know, the fact they've already played 5 maps before this comes in and plays a factor, but I think all players should be pretty okay on a map like this. It will just come down to that accuracy and whether or not a player finds a miss, but so far it looks like Russia actually have the slight advantage in accuracy for the first time this match.
It is looking very close, and actually, yeah, slightly favoring towards Russia. Fire a bit under with that 99.3, but really as well, Ray and yeah, still holding on to that 99.8, which is only going to be making the score difference around 3 digits, but getting it the first drop. That is what we have a taste testing to see before we do get into the remainder of the map. Again, just still piling on in density, not faltering anywhere, still holding on. Again, you have to be super consistent with this map as there's very minimal breaks.
Yeah, I mean, this is a super risky pick as well from Russia, and they probably know it themselves. Last week, Indonesia had a triple FC with their lowest score being 993. So Russia, they definitely know what they're up against, but coming out of the first Kiai, they're 2,500 points in the lead. But by no means is this a large lead. One miss, a few 200s, maybe even one 100 can get back, so they're going to need to keep that lead for as long as possible coming into the last quarter. Ray actually finding a miss just before the Kiai starts, and now it's... okay, that was a bad miss. Still keeping it competitive, still close, 3,000 points of difference. Can these players hold on? Accuracy is going to be super important from this point onwards. A few 200s can be the game changer here. But Russia looking so strong, and this lead is not shifting, is not changing. 3,000 for the rest of the map, actually going up on the back of some accuracy drops from Indonesia, and Russia actually taking this point with dominance, I would say. This is not a point I would have expected Russia to take so seamlessly, but even though you could say 5,000 points was close, this looked like they had the lead. This was in their wheelhouse for the entire map. And now evening out the score 2-4, but still a break point behind. Still more effort needed from this team, but not one I was expecting.
What an absolute team score as well from Russia. Freeway 990. As long as Indonesia as well. 1 300 from Ray. 4 from Yeah as well. Really solid scores showing from all these players. Fier though, a bit behind, I mean, not Fear, Fire, a bit behind when it does come to the PA. But again, that consistency is still really good for them. But Indonesia.
Whoa. Yeah, Rice 7. I'm not too sure about this pick. I said earlier that Rice 5 and Rice 6 are good picks for Indonesia because you're playing consistency game here. And I did mention Rice 7 as well, how maybe it wouldn't be the best pick because this map is so short. And one miss gives like 20,000 points to the other team. So, and a map so short where there's so many polyrhythms, so many tech and dump patterns just thrown at you within a short amount of time. This could be anyone's game here, and I still think this is a bit risky. I am still waiting to see the Rice 2 come out from Indonesia, but it doesn't seem like we're going to see it. Instead, they are going to play the gamble of Rice 7, and I think this is a very winnable pick for Russia if they play their cards right.
Absolutely. And like, we have seen scores. We have seen Indonesia score from this yesterday. We only had a one full combo on the side of yesterday. And kind of seeing the tech consistency from today as well. It might be a bit tricky for them to come out with that freeway full combo. But the same could say on the side of Russia as well. But although not having played this map yesterday, I think if Russia keeps on to their consistency a lot more, then I think this is a feasible breakpoint they can take as well.
Russia have definitely proven themselves to be good at combo. We have seen it throughout this match, but Indonesia, the same on their end as well. It's going to be who is more comfortable, who's more consistent on this map alone. Rice 7. And if Indonesia take this point, that's going to be match point to them. And as I said, Russia, I think this is their best pick to get that break point on, to take their point back and start to even out the score. If they lose this pick, match point, Russia will need to win 3 in a row, including a break point, which is not an easy task.
Easily not an easy task. So this point really matters a lot if Russia wants to take back and keep on that fight a lot more. At a map at 1 minute 35, even finding a 1 or 2 200s can be detrimental. Especially in a techie map like this. Already, just hearing the map, starting off with those polyrhythms, newbies kind of faltering a small bit on them, which is going to get that slight advantage over towards Indonesia. But the map is still yet to make that climax in difficulty.
Yeah, I mean, the map just started and already a quarter of the way through. That's how short this map is. One simple mistake can give a significant lead over, but with only 2,000 points of difference, this actually isn't that much at all, knowing how short this map is. As a single 200 right there, but still all players holding onto that combo. The accuracy looking just about even, but that's only between the players on each team. When looking at Indonesia versus Russia, everyone in Indonesia above 99.9%. And accuracy might be the game-winning plan here for Indo.
But wait, Rift actually dropped a few 200s in that previous section, which is actually going to give that pretty decent advantage over towards Indonesia. But misses can still be found on the side of Indonesia. But heading into the last drop, Rift finds a miss. That's only going to increase the score lead, and a pretty nasty one at that. Going down to 99.5 is Indonesia's time to fry. When we do get to the ending, seeing a lot more of those free no anchors. Pretty minimal accuracy drops on the side of Indonesia. They're going to be taking this point, getting that match point.
I mean, yeah, this one was kind of a given, knowing how good their accuracy was. Indonesia looking so strong, so consistent on a map like this. Russia, though, did have 2 players that weren't far behind, but when you see that Indonesia's lowest score is 995, what can you really do on this? You have 2 V1 double S's, Ray with 1 200, but still just about tying the highest score in the lobby. So this was somewhat of a dominant pick, I guess. Russia was needing to hope that Indonesia found a miss or something, but didn't find one, and it was actually Rift to find one on the Russian side, but overall did not change the outcome. That would have been an Indonesia point regardless. Russia now need to win 3 points in a row. 2 of those are their own pick, though, so this is only 1 break point behind. But what can they do on Indonesia? I don't think they would pick Rice 4. That seems a little bit too risky. The same could be said for Rice 2. It really comes down to who finds a miss, if misses are found. But if we're expecting triple FC to come off from Indonesia, then Rice 4 or Rice 2 are good, because their ratio is just much better. But for Russia, what 2 maps do they pick? I'm not too sure here. Maybe a hybrid 2 and a hybrid 1?
It has to be hybrid 2 and hybrid 1, I think. Maybe they want to go for the more riskier side. Hybrid 3 might be a bit feasible. But for Russia, I would say Rice is a no-go, especially Rice 4. I think just because of Indonesia's pure accuracy alone, I think relying on them getting a miss is definitely a lot riskier. It's like putting green on roulette at that point.
We love talking about the roulette table, don't we? Russia definitely betting green in this match, trying to take back 3 points. Not an easy feat, and can seem like the RNG gods need to be in their favor. but skill will trump all if Russia can just hold on to that combo, which it seems like maybe they're dwindling upon. That is going to be key, but if Indonesia also manage to get that triple FC as they have been doing in these last few maps, then it is going to seem near impossible for Russia. Accuracy making all the difference. So maybe just needing to opt for the more technical, more physical style of maps. And that's why I think Hybrid 1 or Hybrid 2 is going to be the next pick from them.
I think if I had to look at that, I think Hybrid 1 would be their best bet. Yeah. Kind of seeing how they were a bit weaker when they come to some of the shield sides on Planet Shaper, I think Hybrid 1 is definitely their best pick. And they gotta prepare really well for this, gotta have their consistency in, because if not, this pick might be their last. But I've no doubt that Russia can strive off this pick.
Yeah, if Russia wants to make a comeback, it will happen on this map. Bison charge, 1 minute 42 seconds, very short map. Right after the Rice 7 as well, which is 1 minute 30, so 2 back-to-back, very quick maps. Not really testing much stamina, but more so accuracy, consistency, and I guess who finds a choke within that short period of time. But with this being LN instead of Rice, I think Russia maybe just feeling much better after the LN3 performance. This could definitely be the start of it.
It's going to be a wild ride. So actually Albert going to be getting swapped in for Fire, and side of Russia will be seeing the Steyr as well as Hybrid. So strap in, this is going to be a really interesting pick to see, and very close one at that as well.
Yeah, and it's like crazy to see both these teams go head to head so early in the tournament. Seed 9 versus 11. So it's not something you should be seeing very early on, but only happened because Indonesia had lost their round of 32 match and looking to make an insane run in the losers bracket, taking out Russia, a team 2 seats higher than them. But they do need to secure that. They do need to win one more point, and it might just be a matter of time. Russia definitely to try their hardest here, try their best, lock in that triple FC. Accuracy will play a factor too, knowing you're playing against Indonesia. But how long can you hold on for?
All players on the starting line getting a pretty nice start off the intro, but again it's just more that pretty simple jump around 240 BPM. Nothing great to scoff at though. Here we are. The LN is going to be getting thrown in as well to the mix. Actually does take a slight drop between most of the players, but that is to be expected. The mini jacks are also going to be making their way into the map. They'll be taking that slight accuracy drop, which is only going to be favouring that lead up towards Indonesia, especially Ray holding on to that 99.9 after the first area in the map.
Yeah, these one-hand trolls are not very pleasant on the hands, and Indonesia are actually going to be the team to come out on top in the accuracy department, but still, all players holding on to that FC. I'm not too sure. Those are probably Bancho misses if I had to guess.
I would probably guess as well.
Oh, it seems like Rift and Ray actually did find those 2 misses. Oh no, Ray didn't. Okay. Rift, the only player coming up with a miss out of that section. That's a huge lead given over to Indonesia. With only 1 section left to go, Russia need to hope that Indonesia find drops anywhere. Accuracy is not going to cut it at this point in time. With only about 20 seconds of map left to go, do Indonesia find a miss? It's probably going to need to be 2 misses at this point. There is not enough time. Both 1 section to go. Can this lead shrink? Can Russia take it back? It's all going to come down to Indonesia's combo. There's not going to be any misses. Indonesia taking it on another breakpoint from Russia, 6-2. That is going to conclude the match. And it all came down to these misses from Russia, which isn't really what I was expecting in this match. But I mean, the accuracy difference as well. Indonesia with 6-200s combined. This is an absolute dominant performance that we saw from Indonesia today. Getting very high team scores. Not really just one player carrying the team. This is all 3 players looking very strong. As a seed 11 team already in the loser bracket, I would be really scared if I had to face this team next.
Absolutely. What a very close 6-2 we have between those two teams. Especially near some of the starting picks as well. Especially that Rice 3. Well done to everyone